Hi, this is Chris Eric again. I just wanted to show the DC Mini-CEX data entry form for the Mini-CEX assessments. When you are completing a Mini-CEX assessment with the intern, uh, you may have the screen in front of you, and while you're doing the assessment, you can actually mark down the score that the intern actually gets from that category. And again, when I was training in previous videos, our kind of magic number is to try and do 3 to 5 categories per patient encounter if we can, especially at first. We want to do multiple assessments per patient encounter. Those may taper off as the intern doesn't need as many assessments per category, but especially starting off, being very patient-centered and wanting to analyze and assess the whole patient encounter, we want to do that multiple patient Mini-CEX categories if we could. And so this is the screen for the DC Mini-CEX assessment entry form. What we want to do is enter in the patient number. And again, this is from Athena, or if you are from an outside clinic facility, it's another patient number that you're using in your clinic. If by chance we're using paper in a clinic, it's also obviously the patient number that we are using for those records. Obviously, we don't want to put in the patient name for this assessment data entry. Or if we don't have patients, if we're doing actually a mock patient encounter, then obviously we're going to put in mock for this, just notating that we are doing a mock assessment. The second part of this form is actually entering in the clinician name. And again, we have multiple clinicians listed here. If I change the clinician or the dot to another clinician, there's going to be different interns that actually pop up at the second part of this form. And so we want to indicate the clinician, but also we want to indicate the intern also. So we'll just pick the first intern here, and when we indicate that intern, it will open up different sections. Each of these sections is a category for Mini-CEX. We see the category of medical interviewing. We see categories of physical examination. So again, these will be aligned with the rubrics and the Mini-CEX category description that you already have. And so this can be done, obviously, we want this to be done during the assessment, and it can be done very quickly as we're going through the 3 to 5 minute clinical patient encounter observation. If this is a medical interview, again, we're doing a clinical observation and scoring that appropriately. Again, for a Tri-8 intern, if they're doing at the competency of a trimester 8 intern, then we may score a 5 for that intern. If, let's say, they're doing a history and they've also done some skill of clinical judgment during that history, or maybe with conversation after the history, we may score, again, satisfactory, right on line with that trimester intern. Maybe they've gone above and beyond that description. For the on the rubric, we want to score 6 for that, or maybe they need a little bit more work in a certain area. We want to score a little bit lower. They may also did a very nice organized history. They didn't go back. They didn't overlap the information. They did it in a very systematic way. So for that Tri-8 intern, we may score very well for that. And then, if needed, we could also indicate how well they did in ethics and professionalism. Maybe they weren't as professional as they could have been, as polite, greeting the patient, and so forth with that category, will score a little bit lower. So I think we did about 4 categories there. And then always there's a space for entering any comments. Again, this doesn't need to be done at each assessment, but every so often, especially if there needs to be improvement or there's points that they have improved on and they're doing very nicely, you may want to put in something like that. So actually don't put anything like that, but you get the idea of clinical things, clinical comments, maybe little things to put in there with references if you have those, just so that's on the record, and that will go also to the intern for comments for them. So that is it. If you have any questions, please let me know, and we'll go from there.